So a little bit. We're going to go back and talk about Chelsea. About a week and a half ago, Jose Mourinho was asked about Chelsea and if he thinks he could do better than what they're doing right now. Mourinho said, I don't think it's very difficult to coach at Chelsea because I was champion 3 times. Ancelotti was champion. Conte was champion. Who else? It can't be very, very difficult because we win titles here. Graham Potter responded. He said, it is the most difficult job in the world because of the constant change going on around the club from top to bottom and the expectations that come with managing such a big club. I understand Graham Potter. This is his first big club he's managed. Mourinho is a serial winner. But, is Graham Potter onto something? And is Mourinho just blowing smoke up his ass? Or is Graham Potter making life harder for himself than it actually is?
I think it's more Graham Potter's onto something. Mourinho's blowing smoke. Obviously with the new ownership, that's something Mourinho never had to go through.
Yeah.
And, Potter, he didn't come in at the start of a season. He's coming in mid-season. So I could see if these comments were being made, if maybe Potter had the whole, beginning of summer and to do the transfer window in summer and then to get his players going at the beginning of the season. But he's coming in mid-season. Another coach's players, he's dealing with loads of injuries. They're, arguably their starting goalkeeper, Eduard Mendy, Christian Pulisic, hurt, Raheem Sterling, N'Golo Kante, Reece James, Fofana's out injury. They spent a bunch of money on him from Leicester. Ben Chilwell, Armando Broja, Ruben Loftus-Cheek. I mean, that's a starting lineup almost.
Yeah. I mean, it's got to be hard to be Graham Potter right now because I think he's put in a bad spot with all these injuries. Granted, they've spent so much money already and apparently want to get 2 more players in. I think I'm going to go with Mourinho on this one, though. When you have an unlimited checkbook, it's not hard to get the players you want in with a Todd Bowley willing to spend whatever amount of money that you want. You'll go and get whatever players you want. If this team is fully healthy, I think they do a lot better if they're fully healthy. However, I don't think the tactics that Graham Potter is using really suits what he has right now.
So I would disagree with you for sure. Saying that Graham Potter has gone and spent a bunch of money. I mean, yeah, they got João Felix on loan, which again, they overpaid. Mihailo Mudryk, they kind of hijacked that deal from Arsenal. And again, I feel like they overpaid. But those are his only 2 signings. So how can you say he's spent a bunch of money? He hasn't. Those are all Thomas Tuchel's in the summer.
I mean, he's got Badashal. 2
again,
more.
A young defender, more for the future, not for the right now.
I mean, I personally think it was more for defensive cover because of injuries. It's a world-class squad. They should not be in 10th with almost as many losses as they have victories right now, no matter who is coaching them. Chelsea is the quality
again, man,
of the squad.
Luck is not going Potter's way, though. Like I mentioned, those injuries. If you have Reece James, Raheem Sterling, Ben Chilwell, Edouard Mendy back there, I don't think they lose a lot of these games. It's honestly, it's bad luck for Graham Potter, if anything. All these injuries coming his way. I mean, you feel for him. It's nothing he can control. If he has those players in a system he's trying to implement, do they do better? Potentially.
Yeah, it's hard for me, right? Because I don't usually agree with Jose Mourinho. I think he is a old crackpot that says things to wind people up. And I do feel bad for Graham Potter. I don't think the job is easy. I don't think it's the most difficult job in the world. For me,
I almost want to say it is the most difficult job in the world. Look how many managers they go through. And then look at right now, Graham Potter is getting the shaft, people are calling potentially for his job, and he hasn't even been there or brought in any players that he wants.
Yeah.
How's that not fair? I mean, you got to give a manager time. Like I said, if maybe he started at the beginning of the year and was able to bring in at the beginning of the season, not the beginning of the year, beginning of the season, and bring in players he wanted, then he definitely more blame could be on his shoulders. But how can you blame a guy who's brought in a handful of players in the January transfer window?
Yeah. I mean,
He hasn't had a full season. He hasn't had a summer to work with his players. You know how difficult it is for a new manager to come in and switch systems around.
Yeah, I do agree in the sense that it's too early to judge Graham Potter. I do hope that they give him much more time, at least a whole nother season. Time will tell to see who was right in this. But at the very moment, right now, I have to kind of lean a little bit more Mourinho's way. I don't think either one is right, but
no way.
That's just my opinion.
I would say his job right now is probably the hardest in the world with the injuries he's dealing with and the players he has. Yeah.